This is the 2016 Specialized Turbo S, kind of top of the line model from them. It's got the most power. They've actually sort of increased the power on the motor for 2016 from the 250 watt nominal up to 500 watts. So it's added a little bit of weight. You've got more copper winding. You're able to hit those higher speeds and maintain them more efficiently than even before. The Specialized Turbo was one of the first electric bikes in America that we even hit those higher top speeds, like the Speed Pedelec. So it's neat that they're sort of reinforcing that position. And of course, the bike is just designed to be efficient and smooth and fast. So that's the first thing that I noticed about it. You get on it and it's just like it zooms. It's definitely very responsive, but also fluid. It's kind of got like a torque sensor thing going on. The motor is a Ghost Swiss. And I've seen these on some really high-end recumbents, but predominantly the Specialized Turbo. It's a sweet motor. It is a gearless direct drive. Okay, so that means there's kind of fewer moving parts, just the bearings. And inside you've got magnets sort of mounted around the hub. And as such, it's very quiet and it offers a little bit of regenerative functionality. Okay, so there's no regen brake levers here. It's all built into the display, and I'll show that in a little bit. But just again, very, very quiet. There's maybe a little bit of cogging, so that means if you're coasting and you're not under power, the wheel will sort of spin down a little bit quicker than if it was freewheeling. But that's kind of always the trade-off when you have regenerative braking. So that's very cool. 12 millimeter through axle, front and rear, and I love that they've got a quick release on the front wheel. Going to be able to reduce the weight and just kind of shorten the overall length of this bike. If you're storing it in the closet or transporting it, any of those kinds of activities. So I really like that. And actually, while we're looking at the wheels here, the tires have been updated. They used to be sort of this Electrax, and they were like full-on slicks. There really wasn't much tread pattern design, and now they're these Nimbus 700 by 45C. So definitely wider than your traditional hybrid tire for getting around town or whatever, and that gives you a little bit of cushion, and it's just kind of like a race car feel is how I would describe it. They've also got an armadillo sort of puncture resistant lining, so that when you're out there, if you hit some stickers or whatever, you hopefully won't have flats as easily. But again, quick release makes it easier to kind of fix that. And in the rear, we're looking at the power cable right here. There's a quick disconnect, so it makes it a little bit easier to manage if you do have to take that wheel off and maybe true it or change the tires eventually if you've been riding like hundreds of miles, thousands of miles. So I love that. And I also like that the motor wire's on the left side of the bike. On the right side, this is the drivetrain. 11 cogs here, pretty impressive. Shimano Deore XT. Last year, 2015, it was like SRAM components, so a little bit of a step up here with this, and really great range. Just having 11 speeds. I think it's like 40 teeth and maybe 42 up front on the chainring, down to 11 at the low end for the high speeds. It's really cool. That's going to help you hit those and maintain those higher top speeds efficiently without changing your cadence too much. It feels very comfortable. I like that they've got this aluminum alloy bash guard thing going on here. Kind of protects your pants a little bit. It's really tucked in. You can even see the frame is designed to incorporate the chain ring a little bit and kind of brings everything in close. Real sleek plastic chain guide right here too, so that the chain shouldn't fall off on either side and kind of protects it from the top. Little touches like that, I really like it. Looks like a sealed bottom bracket, hollow spindle, so relatively lightweight. It's like 54.5 pounds for this bike. It depends on the size you get, of course. Got small, medium, large, and extra large. I think the small is like 15.5, and then you go to 17.5 inches, 19 and 21.5. So you get one of these bikes and not have to worry about like, oh, I really have to adjust the seat or the handlebars. You can get the right size for yourself. And I think that's important. Specialized, definitely a brand that focuses on performance, and this is such a purpose-built bike. I love that they've got kind of that the bosses here, little eyelets and screws for adding a front rack, adding fenders if you want. Same on the rear, on the seat stays. It's pretty awesome. And I think they even have like a rack and kind of a city kit thing that brings the light out on the back of the rack. And that's cool, because sometimes if you're riding, if you have your coat on, it can kind of block that if it's hanging down. So if you have the city kit, it brings the light back and makes it even more visible. It's one of the things I've heard people ask about. It's like, oh, I want to change the saddle. It's actually a really nice saddle, but it's sort of all wired in. So the seat post here, I think, is 30.9. And you could update this. You could get a suspension post. In fact, the Turbo X for 2016 does have a suspension post built in. It's like proprietary, specialized design. Really cool, but you know, for road riding and stuff, this is a little bit more aggressive. Definitely, like, you're leaning forward more, and that kind of thing is going to add weight too. So this is a $7,000 model. If you went with the X, it's like $4,500. And then just the low end turbo, which has a 200 watt motor versus 500. That one, it's down to $3,000. So pretty, you know, in my opinion, for a purpose-built bike, that's a pretty affordable price point. And then you get up to this, and you're really stepping it up for the performance and the extremely large battery. This is like a 36 volt 19.5 amp hour battery pack, so big, definitely going to get increased range with that, and it's going to help you to hit and maintain those higher top speeds, because of course your efficiency drops. Like, the faster you're going, the drag coefficient, everything, you're basically burning through that pack faster, and all the accelerating and stopping. While we're on the topic of stopping, we've got these Shimano Deore XT brakes, really nice tiny little levers there. 180 millimeter rotors, front and rear. There's the Deore XT calipers, and look at this. They've got these like heat sinks coming off of it, so that's gonna wick away some of that heat. Just really high performance stuff. Definitely useful if you are riding fast and far and hard. You know, it's gonna keep that performance level up there. I like the kickstand, by the way. Got this kind of scissoring double leg stand that kind of tucks up to the left. It's nice to have a kickstand in general if you're doing maintenance or anything like this, and this one holds it real straight and just, you know, it's not going to tip, that kind of thing. The body geometry grips up here, flockers on the inside, a little bit of an ergonomic setup, just a wider handlebar, like real, you know, kind of flat but brings back to you a little bit. It feels great. Of course, the trigger shifters over here, you can push forward or back on the little one right there. I like that. So definitely kind of thoughtfully done here. This is the wire for the display panel, and I love what they've done with it. It used to be built right into the brake, like lever design. It was all kind of one metal piece, and that was maybe okay in terms of it just being real clean and tucked away and stuff, and it blends in, it's black, it looks nice. The downside was that since they were connected, if you were up here riding and you had like glare hitting you from the sun, you'd literally have to switch, you have to like adjust your brake levers to reduce that. Or, you know, maybe you really like your levers down, facing really far down instead of up. Well, adjusting those and dialing them in would change the display orientation, and that kind of was no fun. It was just like it's a minor gripe, but definitely something I didn't love about it. Also, you know, we've got the thing where anytime the bike is on, the lights are on. So even if you're charging, these lights are kind of on. And when I was charging it, I just threw a extra shirt over it just because it was sort of bugging me. But it's a nice safety feature, and these are really nice lights. It's a Supernova. You can kind of aim it up or aim it down. Works really well. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, press the get things powered on. You do have to power on the battery pack independently from the display. You know, it's kind of down here out of the way, but it does have a self-diagnostic feature. Like when you turn it on, these lights go through a little dance and kind of, you know, blink a couple times if one of the systems isn't quite set up right. So that's cool to watch out for, and you know, all the details are in the manual. This is the charging port. You can charge on or off the bike, but it's nice that they've built this extra port right here. Little magnetic cap that kind of sticks to the side of the frame. Very cool. This is the Energy Bus standard, and it can charge and do other communication kind of updates and stuff. One of the big things for 2016 is sort of a wireless app, so you can tell the bike, you know, like set the top speed. I think there's even a feature where you can tell it, here, you know, here's how far I want to go, and it'll maintain basically the power output so that you're not going to run out of battery. It's sort of an intelligent design to help manage your power. I love that. Also love that they've integrated a bottle cage on the battery pack. Like, this is always a delighter for me because you get hungry, you're thirsty, right? You're out riding, it's a bicycle, right? And this is one of the few electric bikes today that it looks like a bicycle. People wouldn't even know. It's so quiet, it's super stealth. So this is, you know, people aren't gonna be like maybe as upset or questioning it, depending on your environment. Maybe, you know, you live in a state where people are like concerned or something. It's not a huge deal, but I just love the little touches and how sleek everything is. So nice bottle cage. Also the pedals, they've got these adjustable set screws that you can either, you know, put way in if you don't need the traction, or kind of pump them out. Like, very cool. Good space, reflectors, everything you'd expect. Like, this is, they aren't messing around with this bike. Blocking battery right here, that's how you get it off. Also, I've noticed if you're riding with this and, you know, over time the battery, you know, seats into the down tube, but if it's loose for any reason, you can kind of go down here and you can tighten it. There's sort of like a bolt that'll sort of squish the battery in a little bit better, so that's really nice. They've kind of designed it to be adjustable over time, so you're not dealing with bouncing those things around. Okay, so now we're up here at the display panel. It turned on because I pressed the power button a moment ago, and now you can kind of see, you know, it sort of like glows. It's small, but it's relatively out of the way, and it's very simple. So if you arrow all the way up, there's a lightning bolt, and that's turbo. If you go down one, well, this is eco, and you can actually set eco. So a minute ago it said eco, and then it disappeared. If I go back up to turbo at eco, and then I hold right before it disappears, now I can set eco. I can say, oh, I want 70% of turbo. Well, maybe I want to go down and take it to 10%. And then, of course, turbo, that lightning bolt, that's the top level. Okay, once we let that go, if we arrow down again, we get nothing. So it's basically just pedal power. You're just like a bicycle, and you've got a little, you know, cycle computer built in. And if you arrow down again, we get to regen. So that's where, you know, if you're riding, you're going fast, or maybe you're approaching a hill and you want to reserve some of that battery and recoup some energy, you just arrow, 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 and boom, you're in regen, and the motor does its thing. So that's cool. You can also arrow left to right and go from trip, meter, odometer, or battery percentage. And right now we're at 32%. So pretty simple. I mean, there's just a handful of menus there, but there's enough adjustability to dial it in. And there's even like a cute little throttle mode here, sort of a secret. Let's see if we get that kickstand stowed. That's what it looks like. If I hop on the bike here, what you do is you go up to turbo with the lightning bolt, and then you hold forward. There we go. The bike just kicks in and kind of takes you away. And right when we get up to that, like, you know, 11, 12 miles per hour, you kind of get this like cutout feeling because the throttle's done. It's kind of maxed out. And I think that's good if you're going through puddles and you want to keep your feet up and out of the way, or maybe you're carrying groceries or something and you're not feeling super stable. It's nice to have a little throttle built in. I like that. Even though it cuts out a little bit hard on the throttle, it does not on pedal assist. So, you know, you get up to that like high 27 mark with this bike and it just eases off. So it's comfortable, you know, and at that kind of speed, it's nice to have that smooth feeling. So yeah, we kind of pedal along. Almost difficult to showcase this because it's so quiet. It's probably hard to tell when the motor is engaging, but it senses that you're moving, first of all, and then there's like a torque sensor that's really fluid, so it feels like it just accelerates you with each pedal stroke. Super smooth brakes there, like definitely feeling good. Oop. Whoosh, whoosh. Like easily hitting 20 miles per hour, just a short runway. That's a great feeling, and super quiet. Like it's silent. Well, I think that's about it. This is a pretty iconic electric bike. I'm excited to see Specialized stepping up their game. They've got, you know, these 3 road models and then several off-road models now with the Levo line. So they've got like some hardtails, some full suspension, and like a fat bike. So definitely cool. This is the top of the line in terms of speed and performance that way. And if you're in the city, you're trying to get around, and you want something that just blends in, this is a great choice. The fact that it has a 3-year warranty for the electronics is awesome. Also, I think it's like lifetime on the frame. So Specialized, with their dealers and stuff, they set it up, they get you fit right, and I appreciate that. So for the full written review on the Specialized Turbo S, and pictures and comments and stuff, I'll see you back at electricbikereview.com. And if you've owned this bike, maybe you've owned one of the other ones, you have some comments or feedback, just chime in, add your voice for sure, and ride safe.